My name is Philip Totaro. I'm the founder and CEO of market research firm IntelStor. Welcome to your weekly dose of truth to power. Truth to Power examines data-driven insights for the energy sector with a focus on renewables. On this week's episode, we're looking at the feed-in tariffs, public finance, and capital efficiency of renewable energy in the European region from the IntelStor Future of Renewables report. Feed-in tariffs have been a strong point of contention within the EU, with the European Commission and several member states calling for subsidies to be eliminated and power offtake auctions to be held subsidy-free. As we've noted in the past on Truth to Power, the feed-in tariff price comprises the purchase price for the electricity plus any subsidies which might be included. It's for this reason that the average feed-in tariff price in Europe has been more than the rest of the world. With the exception of solid biofuels, the feed-in tariffs for all renewable energy technologies has been over $100 per megawatt hour. That's combining generous subsidies along with high average power purchase contract prices. And while these prices accommodate local and regional market conditions, the spread between feed-in tariff prices and the generation cost of energy can sometimes be substantial, providing ample incentive for project developers and financiers to pile money into these projects in Europe. Nevertheless, they've still sought to hold on to these lucrative subsidies, which ensures high feed-in tariff prices remain high. Annual public investment for renewable energy technology investigation and project development has seen a fairly consistent level in Europe since 2010. Despite the COVID-induced drop in 2020, the region consistently receives approximately $6 billion annually, which has been split between solid biofuels, offshore wind, onshore wind, and hydropower. It remains curious that while solar PV has received some public funding, the annual allocation typically ranges from between 6.2 and 9.7% of the total in the past 10 years. Europe's annual public investments have been equal to or surpassed the highest annual funding allocation globally in the past 5 years, except for 2023, where Asia Pacific saw a total of $8.3 billion. Similar to other global regions, solid biofuels have seen a significant spike in funding allocation since 2016 in Europe, but the dominance of the public funding allocation has been tempered by an influx of interest in offshore wind finance. In the past 25 years, Europe has received a total of $88.3 billion in public finance, with a slight majority of it going to hydropower. Offshore wind has kind of stormed into second place with a total of $21.3 billion, or 24.1% of the overall total, with onshore wind trailing in third place. While solid biofuels have received substantially more support in other global regions relative to the other technologies, they have a total of just under $12.5 billion in Europe. And in the most recent 5 years of the reporting period, they only comprised 9.2% of the total funding allocation. Recent allocation of public funding has actually been directed towards hydropower, offshore wind, and onshore wind. Now, with that said, solar PV actually leads the European region on capital efficiency with just $11,000 per installed megawatt for that technology. Similar to the rest of the world, solar PV has been able to bypass a substantial amount of public finance and move straight into private capital markets due to the cost effectiveness of deployment and a reasonable return on capital for the project developers and investors. By contrast, offshore wind has received a substantial amount of public finance in Europe over the years, but it has a somewhat poor capital efficiency of $532,000 per installed megawatt. As I've noted in the past, I say the word poor in reference to this. It's not that the technology doesn't work, it's that they've been highly dependent on public finance more so than other technologies and more so than perhaps they need to be given the maturity level that the industry's achieved. Normally, public finance is reserved for new technologies which need the government support to gain some scale, but offshore wind has been deployed in Europe since 1991, and yet it remains a technology with a substantial amount of that public finance support. This further complicates the industry conversation regarding why ongoing subsidy support for offshore wind projects should be reconsidered, since the projects already get a substantial amount of public funding support on the capital expenditure involved in project development. What's also noteworthy are some of the technologies which have received a heavy amount of hype and public support, but they've got little to show for it. Specifically, geothermal at $463,000 per installed megawatt, and even to a certain extent, waste to energy at $372,000 per megawatt, seem to continue to see a substantial amount of public finance contribution without much additional capacity deployment relative to that public finance commitment. Geothermal is certainly dependent on wellbore drilling, which necessarily limits the countries and regions where the technology could be utilized. While it's seen some increase in capacity in Italy and Turkey where there's available resource, it appears to be much more of a niche technology with high efficiency but limited capacity deployment potential when compared to more mainstream technologies. Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Philip Totaro, and this has been your weekly dose of truth to power. We'll have more to come from this IntelStor exclusive report, The Future of Renewables, next time on Truth to Power, including a look at each one of the technologies, starting with capacity and market share for solar PV. In the meantime, you can follow us on IntelStor's YouTube channel, as well as your favorite audio platforms, and visit www.intelstor.com to join more than 250,000 subscribers to our renewable energy data solutions. We're adding subscribers faster than ever, so don't miss out. Register today. A full analysis of the global renewable energy market is available to online subscribers of this new exclusive IntelStor report, The Future of Renewables. And tickets are on sale now for the next Wind Summit event in Houston, Texas on November 3rd and 4th, 2026. Visit www.windsummit.org and join hundreds of your industry colleagues to discuss all the latest trends in O&M. We've got speakers and panelists lined up from companies like NextEra, EDPR, EDF, Pattern Energy, ExxonMobil, WEG, and more. So don't miss out. Register today. We hope to see you there.